What have you seen from the Cleveland Browns offense and how they kind of transformed here or moved forward in these first few games?
They're a very talented group. Skill positions are up there with anyone in the league. The back is fantastic. Baker's getting into a groove, so anytime you're a new offense going in with a new system, even though the coach is the same from a year ago, there's still nuances that are different. And so as an offense, as you're trying to gain control of it, they're just going to get better. They're so talented, especially at those skill spots. Their O-line's really good. It's just a matter of time before they start clicking, and they did against Baltimore. So,
did you, like, in the offseason, when you looked at them as kind of a preliminary look, does it look different now? Is that kind of what you're referring to?
Yeah, there's, you had Monken come from Tampa Bay, so I'm sure he's got some wrinkles in there from him, and their O-line coach from Green Bay, so there's some wrinkles in from him, and from a run game standpoint. But and then obviously with Coach Kitchens, he's got his say. So similarities, yes, but you can tell there's different influences, and they're tying it together really nicely. It's just a matter of guys getting into a groove with what's happening.
What was the genesis of you guys doing a lot more pre-snap in terms of disguising coverages and things like that? Was that a Joe Woods? Was that something that he sort of brought to the table?
Joe's brought a lot of good stuff to the table. The disguise for us, I feel like we've always had it. I know it's hard to see it when you're not winning, but when you don't do a lot, you have to do something to disguise what you do. What we've been able to do is just implement more coverages in terms of being more balanced with what we have. And what Joe's brought to us with regards to technique and fundamentals and all that stuff, he's been fantastic. So he's been a fantastic addition, and we haven't skipped a beat since half left. He's pretty good. So
how much credit does some of that pre-snap stuff deserve for some of the success you guys have had through these first 3 games?
Anytime you can make a quarterback have to figure it out post-snap, it's always a good thing. So it's pre-snap, I don't know, I guess you'd have to ask the other quarterbacks. It feels like they're not able to get a beat. I thought Andy Dalton was probably he's always been really good at figuring out coverages and getting the ball out on time, so he was a challenge. We had to make an adjustment at halftime to get off the field a few times on 3rd down. So for us, always challenging ourselves to make sure that they have to figure it out post-snap will always be the biggest part of our game plan with regards to trying to get the quarterback just buy us one hitch, and our D-line will get home. So.
Well, we haven't asked you any questions about your job security in a long time, since last year. Have you gotten a lot smarter in several months?
No, I don't know if I've gotten a lot smarter. God, it's our guys are great players, make coaches look very, very good, and so they're the group that we have is fantastic. They've bought in to what we're trying to do schematically. They bought in with the standard that we've tried to create. They've bought in with what it's supposed to look like on tape with regards to the speed, the effort, the violence, the technique, and all that stuff. So it's a big credit to them and the way they worked. It's a credit to the position coaches, Kasarik, Joe, D'Amico. You got Chris Kiffin and Johnny Holland, Daniel Bullocks, all of them, Brian Fleury. They've been doing a great job upholding that standard with the way we prepare the guys, and our guys have been relentless every single day since OTAs have started, and they haven't taken their foot off the brakes yet. So it's or off the gas, I should say, and so it's been good. So
this time last year, there was so much talk about how many missed tackles this defense had. Why is that so much better now? And the fact that you guys haven't allowed a rushing touchdown through 3 games, how much pride do you guys take in that aspect?
I'll answer the tackling one first. John and Kyle have done a great job bringing a lot of team speed to us, both offensively, defensively, and special teams. And tackling has always been the speed element has always been a big part of your ability to tackle. The tracking angles that you take when you take a certain tracking angle, you have to have confidence in your speed as an individual to close the gap as quickly as possible on the proper track. People who are not confident in their speed, take bad angles because they're going the cutoff, which creates all kinds of terrible tackling angles. And so our team speed, when you look at Quan Alexander, you look at Fred Warner, our safeties, even at corner, there's K'Wan Williams, there's a lot of team speed in that back end, so they can take those tracking angles that are critical to tackling. And so the faster teams are usually your best tackling teams. As with regard to the having given up a rushing touchdown, it's always prideful if you can keep them out of the end zone in any way. But I've always said I'd rather have a team throw for 500 than run for 250. It's more backbreaking, so I guess it's something to be proud of. So.
Why are you confident that Emmanuel Moseley is ready for this massive challenge of covering Odell Beckham Jr.?
E-Man's got a great mindset to him. He's not afraid of anything, and that's a number one prerequisite for a corner is you can't be scared. He's also got a very short memory, so if he does get beat, he's able to line up as if nothing happened and keep grinding. So there's no fear in his football game. He's shown over from last year making it as an undrafted free agent, and then this year really just taking hold with K'Wan missing OTAs, just grabbing that his spot on the roster by the neck. And when we put pads on, his physicality, his mindset, his football IQ, his work ethic, all of it, it just kept growing on coaches. And for us, we just have a tremendous amount of confidence in him.
How big of a challenge does he face? I mean, from your perspective, how good is Odell Beckham Jr.?
Odell's one of the best in the league, but we've got faith in our guys in regards to if you play your technique, you do what you're supposed to do with regards to eliminating your biggest issues. Don't give up your cheap explosives, and make tackles, stay on top, play great fundamental defense. We feel pretty good about the way it'll all work. And so with regards to Odell and him, it'll be a great challenge for him, but I've got faith in our guys. So
Who's going to start at free safety?
at free, that one's still being decided.
You've in the past been pretty upfront that Jimmy Ward is one of your best 11 players.
Yeah.
Is Jimmy Ward still one of your best 11 players?
I do believe he is still one of the best 11, and so his versatility allows us the ability to use him in many different ways, and I guess everyone will find out on Monday.
How do you balance making that decision, just given the fact that the defense has been mostly successful for these first 3 games versus knowing how good Jimmy Ward is? I mean, I assume there's the idea that you don't want to upset what's already happening.
No, it's the challenge for everybody in this organization, whether it's player, coach, management, doesn't matter. If you become complacent just because you've won, it'll create loss. So our job is to find ways to get better even through victory. So it's always trying to find a way to get a little bit better every single day as we go out on the football field. So if Jimmy Ward gives us the ability to get better, then he's going to get used. And I would hope that everybody understands that. So
With Bosa, I think he's played something like 56% of the snaps. If he's healthy, is he somebody you'd want to be up there with maybe DeForest, somebody who gets 70, 80% on a given day?
one day for sure. I guess it's we've got, knock on wood, such a good amount of depth and it's such a good rotation with all those guys that there's no need to wear any of them out. And so the first day I ever stood up here, the idea being that you want those guys to have less than 700 snaps on the year, all of them. And if we can create that rotation where they're all getting equal reps and they're all fresh and we can come at them at waves, that's the most ideal situation. So even if he is 100% healthy, you still want to create the same environment in terms of you're on the field, you give us everything you got. And then when the next guy goes in while you're getting your breather, he's giving everything he's got and get ready to go back on the football field, do the same thing you just did. So come at them at waves and try to keep their snap counts down so they can exert that energy instead of having the keep it in the store bank, if that makes sense.
I realize this wasn't your decision per se, but why is it important to get Marcel Harris up on the 53-man?
Marcel's got, he's a big-bodied safety. He's got great athleticism. He came in here last year. If you look at Marcel's story, he missed all of his last year in college, and then he gets to us, and he misses all of OTAs. He misses a majority of training camp. He goes on IR. He misses the first 10 games of the season, and so he starts the last 6. And you think about him starting NFL games without really practicing. If you really want to see it, he practiced for 2 weeks in 2 years and started 6 NFL football games and did a really nice job. And he just brings a lot of energy, a lot of speed, a lot of violence, a lot of good things that you want out of that strong safety spot. And to have him up is a good thing. Losing X is always hard because of what X means to us in terms of leadership and all that stuff. But a lot of faith in what Marcel can do both defensively and I'm sure special teams too. So.
What's your scouting report of Baker Mayfield?
Baker's you could see that he's getting into a groove, especially if he can get into a groove early. He's got really good arm strength. He's got great pocket awareness. He's always looking downfield to find open guys. He's not just scrambling to run; he's scrambling to throw. He's starting to get a rapport with his receivers, understanding the offense and what it's asking of him, and he's going to be a good one. He's just. For him, it's just stay the course and get better every single day. So,
what is Cleveland's offensive identity?
Their identity, they've obviously with Chubb, they got a really good run game. They run some RPOs in there, which is right through Baker's wheelhouse in terms of what he did back in college. It's an easy way to get the ball to the receivers who are special, like I've talked about. But I'd give them a run-first mentality. You could just feel that part. And if you try to stack the box, it's pitch and catch to the receivers. If you try to play soft, they're going to run it right down your throat. So it's a great challenge for us on early downs to try to win up front and hold up on the outside. So
The analytics community, numbers people will say that play action or the effectiveness of the running game doesn't impact how effective an offense can be using play action. Do you think play action is more difficult to defend when a team is running the ball well, or is there not really a relationship there?
it's a lot harder to me if an offense is running the ball very well. Because like I've told you, the worst thing you can have is an offense just jamming it down your throat. You have to do something as a coach, you have to do something to stop them. And if you don't do anything and you just let them get chunk yards and you let them run for 180, 200 yards, it's just backbreaking. Because it's exhausting when 600 pounds, when they are leaning, or you're just allowing 600 pounds to lean on your three technique. You're allowing all that weight and all that force and all that grind to happen down in and down out. As a coach, I'd feel very irresponsible. So as the more aggressive you get to stop the run, the more vulnerable you are at play action. So they do work hand in hand to me anyway.
Robert,
Two more, please.
Just in regards to last year, and you were under some fire. Did you learn? Going through that, a bit of adversity. Did you learn anything about yourself, or what was that experience like when people are saying, what's wrong with you?
I'm being honest when I say this. I don't pay attention to it. I don't have social media. I wouldn't have known my job was under pressure unless y'all told me. I have an obligation to the organization to try to get these guys ready to play, try to get coaches all on the same page, try to get the guys ready to play on Sunday. And anytime I'm thinking about myself and my job security, I'm taking away from my ability to focus on what's important now, and that's the players, it's the coaches, that's the organization. So I'm being very honest when I can tell you I don't think I learned anything, because I think every day is a dogfight, and every day you're trying to prove yourself as a person. So the growth for me is trying to be the best coordinator I can be every single day, and that's really where I've learned over the last 2 years is different ways to approach this as a coordinator.
You don't have family members texting and calling?
They do. They do, especially my brother.
Did you hear about a certain Sports Illustrated article that came out? I think it was last week.
Yeah, it's family sent that one out. But it's like I said, it's in this profession. You get as much as they love you today, they will put you on a pitchfork and light you on fire tomorrow. So I don't care. It doesn't matter, because the bottom line is winning, playing great defense, and finding a way to get this team where it hasn't been in the last few years. So.
Last one. Circling back to just the angles and tackling, and tying that into RPO. So how important is the eye discipline for your defense, and how do you feel Tarvarius Moore's angles and tackling have been through the first 3 games?
Tarvarius can get a lot better at angle tracking. His issue isn't tracking. So there's 2 types of tracks that a middle third safety has to take. There's the get on course, which is when the ball is thrown, the get on course to eliminate if one of the DBs loses a one-on-one. And it's that middle third safety's job to get on course and knock that thing down so it doesn't crease us. And then the second part is tracking in the run game, where if the ball does break the front 7 or the box, his job is to track near hip and tackle that, so that way those runs don't become explosive. So we call him, that's why he's called the eraser. He erases all the mistakes that happen in front of him. So for Tarvarius, the tracking in the run game is really good. He's got to improve his tracking out of the middle of the field when he gets on course. When the ball is thrown, eyes before feet, get on course, track the near hip, and tackle. So it's that's something he's working on. Daniel's been working with him and Joe Wood. So and he's going to get better at it. He's a young man, so I've got a lot of faith in him. But eye discipline, as always, it's we say I've always talked about football's a piece of cake. Don't make it harder than it has to be. So cake is call, alignment, key, and execute. Key is your eyes. Put your eyes where they need to be pre-snap. Put your eyes where they need to be post-snap. And when that ball is thrown, put your eyes where they need to be so you can go tackle. And so as long as you've got great eye discipline and you're putting it where you need to be, you'll have faith in your athleticism that you'll be able to make the play.
You talk about tracking. Is that an area where Jimmy Ward excels?
Yeah, Jimmy's good. He's pretty good at tracking.
When you say about the run game and pass game, the 2 plays were pass plays, the Ross and Juju play.
Yeah.
I mean, those are. I mean, he's basically trying to tackle guys who are runners at that point. So is there a difference?
There is, because it's more of a in the run game it's coming out of a chute, so you're using the bodies in front of you as leverage. But when you're out in the open field, a get on course tackle is very hard, and it's something that you've got to have great faith in your speed, which he has tremendous amounts of speed, and you've got to have great eye discipline and ability to transition and put yourself on course and stay on that course no matter what, and just throw. And if you do that, you'll 99 out of 100 times you should get him down, and it's something that he's working on. So it's he's going to be a good one. He just got some things to work on. So it's excited for him to get better.